Hi, a lovely day to you from Stratapios. We are here to make a bead design called scalloping. I would love to show you while you do yours and show us a sample of what you've been able to come up with. Come along. So for the materials you'll be needing, our cutter, our fishing line, 3.5 will be preferable, or 3.0. Then we need our clasp. Then we need a bead. You can use any big bead of your choice, and then our tiny sand bead could be size 2 or size 3. Okay, so to start with, you have to cut a desirable length of fishing line. Then we start by inserting our hook. The hook has two sides. The bigger part, and obviously the one we call the 8 shape, which is used to lock the hook. Okay, so you pick any of the sides. We are starting with the hook itself, so we picked that hole there. We are going to insert a small bead as stopper into the two fishing line at the same time. Okay, so that's what we have. So still working with the two fishing line now, we are going to separate it. We are going to separate the fishing line. So on one side of the fishing line you had your big bead, while on the other side of the fishing line you are going to add 8 or 9 sand beads. The number of sand beads you'll be using, the time is always it depends on the size of your big bead. So while we continue the design, I hope you will understand what I mean by that. So like I said again, the name of the style is scalloping. Okay, so we are inserting 8 sand beads. We are going to be interlocking with the 9th one. I hope you are familiar with the term interlocking. So I'm going to do that again with the 9th bead. So to interlock, all you need to do is insert your bead on one side, then you go through the same sand bead with the other side of the fishing line. I hope you got that. Okay, so that's what we have. So that's just a step of the style we intend making. So to continue with this now, you know what we did before. To go back to what we did before, we inserted a big bead on one side, then the sand bead on the other side. So now we are going to alternate that sequence. We are going to be putting the big bead on the part where we have the sand bead, and we are going to be adding the sand bead on the other side where we have the big bead. And still we are going to be having adding 8 sand bead and interlocking with the 9th one. You can drop a message if you don't understand what any step as we go on. We'll be glad to reply you. So we added 8 beads, and we're going to be interlocking with the 9th one. Again, you add your bead on one side, then you go in through the same bead with the other fishing line. That's what we have. So we'll continue the pattern, the sequence, until you get your desirable length, neck or wrist or earring size. So we're going to do 3 more so that you can follow up with the sequence. So again, you add your big bead on that part where you have the sand bead, and the sand bead where you have the big bead. Don't forget, it's always an alternate step. You alternate where you have the big bead and the small bead. So again, the 8 sand bead, 8 sand beads, then interlock with the 9th sand bead. We are using a size 2. If we are using size 3, we might be needing 6 sand bead and interlocking with the 7th sand bead. Okay, so that's the third step. Isn't this beautiful? Wow. Okay, so we're going to do 2 more. So we alternate again, the big bead on the side where we have the small, the sand bead, and the sand bead on the line where we have the sand bead. Okay, again, the materials we used or we are using presently is a big pearl bead size 10, sand bead size 2, fishing line 0.35, our cutter, and our hook. And don't forget, we started with the hook and used the sand bead into, we inserted the sand bead into the 2 fishing line at the same time to serve as stopper so that our fishing line doesn't come off. Then we started the whole sequence with a sand bead, with 8 sand bead on one side, 1 big bead on the other side, then we interlocked with the sand bead. I hope you've been able to learn 1 or 2 things from this tutorial, and we would love to see a sample of yours once it's completed. Thank you again. This is Strata Pearls signing out.